Hello and welcome to this early work in progress presentation of the undaw UNDAW plugin for Unreal. It is free, open source. You can find it on GitHub. Just clone the repo and put it in your plugins folder and rebuild the project from your IDE. It should work. The whole point of the plugin is to build upon some of the new functionality Epic and the harmonix crew added in Unreal 5.4, primarily focusing on MIDI, but not only. The plugin also does some pretty cool things with the builder system, the MetaSound builder system, which was introduced in Unreal 5.3 and is the driver of the patchwork system you can find in Fortnite. Let me kind of show what this thing can do right now, and maybe we'll also show some of the features I'm working on. So the place to start is to import a MIDI file into Unreal. I already imported a bunch. You can find MIDI files anywhere, and once the plugin is installed, you'll get this new option. Click it. You will be prompted to select a place to save this new DAW sequence asset, and we can save it. Before we look at this screen, the first thing you get is this piano roll editor, which can actually also edit, add notes to the MIDI file, but I will not start there because I did not implement undo and deleting right now. So it will be kind of destructive, and no thank you. Yes, many things to improve. But this is an editor, a piano roll viewer, shows you the MIDI. We will have more options to also see the files and stuff, but yes, okay. The other part is this graph. This is the builder graph, which is also a work in progress, but right now it kind of gives us a representation of what the MetaSound builder will build, or in fact has already built, because the MetaSound builder is already running and everything is already playable. What does that mean? Basically, a MIDI file like this, a type 1 MIDI file, can have all of the musical information set up in tracks, and the tracks can have different musical parts assigned to different channels, and it's kind of a bit of a mess. And if you were to use the classes and nodes that harmonix provide, you kind of need to start filtering out the tracks to channels and assign each of them to a MetaSound patch that will play them, because usually it's the easiest is to use the new Fusion player, but you need to do that, and then you need to input the track number into the Fusion player, and setting up a multi-channel MIDI file is not so easy. And although I've been speaking for a while, I set all this thing up in one click. So right now all of the MIDI channels are set to play through default Fusion pianos. It works. And while it's playing, I can change the instruments. This error is because we are working on an early preset system, so it's complaining that I didn't save a preset. But so yeah, we can have different instruments, and although I have been demonstrating Fusion instruments that use Fusion patches, which I will also soon expose as something you can change here, it's actually flexible. You can use any MetaSound patch. Let's show. Lowering the volume in advance. this one is not a Fusion instrument at all. It's a custom meta sound patch. You can basically make you can make instruments by making patches, and in order to get the undaw system to recognize your patch as an instrument, you need to implement the custom undaw instrument interface, which is not a big deal. It just declares the MIDI stream input. You're supposed to do something with it, like I'm setting up here, simple ADSR, an oscillator, and you need to output audio that makes this patch into an instrument. And once the patch is an instrument, it will show up here. I have a few other examples. Yeah, this one. So actually those errors, let's talk about them. When I have an instrument that has like controls, okay, so these controls should have ranges. Like, okay, so this is a frequency, this is the glide. Glide should go between 0 and 1, so actually glide is fine, and width should also go between 0 and 1, so that is one is fine. We can just save it. I will demonstrate one that isn't so fine. Let's do something else. So as we showed, the instruments are just patches. Now for a proper DAW, we do not want to stop with just instruments, and we can use inserts. Most basic one for us would be a panner. We can do all of this while it's playing. This one, so as you can see, the ranges were already mapped to ones that are meaningful for the plugin. The default value is being read from the patch, so you can just set it in the patch, but if you change the ranges, you need to select the node in pins. I will make it less cluttered, but it's a work in progress, and this is where you change the range. And there we have it. We saved a new preset for this. Just to give credit, this tremolo effect is from another GitHub repo. So I just installed the plugin from that repo and wrapped it in a patch, and now we have a tremolo effect. And also we also have more effects that this. From this repo, we have a vibrato. So this is pretty cool. So you have this M2 sound or M square sound graph, which I created so this is part of the asset now. So this asset, we can save it, we can change it, we can modify it. I did not implement undo and deleting nodes, but we can disconnect connections. So this is a live meta sound, and I am working on exposing all of the metasound controls. The mapping for these controls is already automatic. If your metasound patch exposes a float input, it will be seen here, it will be saved, and you can map it. And probably also add like a small preset system in the future where you can save configurations for these guys. Obviously missing is a sand bus system, but it is already something that I planned for and worked. In fact, you may notice that you're only seeing many audio outputs in the graph, but it's only stereophonic. Under the hood, there is I use the builder to dynamically add mixer outputs before the master output, so the same trick will be done to add the bus sands, and also I will add an insert point after the master mixer to actually put inserts on the master, and that will actually kind of complete this being a modular DAW in a sense. There are other features I'm going for, like meta-sound inputs nodes can communicate with one another. For instance, the new harmonix delay node takes in the MIDI clock input from the master clock, and we have it available. I just don't expose it here. I'm still kind of deliberating how it will look, but I will probably have a member tab here, kind of like how meta-sound has it set up. So this has been a lot of talk, but now we have this asset and it is set up, and so I will actually leave it open because we are also going to do something cool with it. So wait, actually I will take it to a different tab, close this tab and put this one on the piano roll view here, if Unreal will oblige. No, it doesn't. I want to show it all. I can't put it as a tab here. Shame. Okay, so once we have this asset, we have the in-game music scene player actor, which everything is already set up in the example level, you can see. But so right now it doesn't have a DAW session data asset, so we will assign the English suites. Beyond that, we have several things in the scene already set up connected to it. Let's just show it. I also want to show this. No. Okay, we will have to do it like this. Okay, so we have our transport here. It is already thread the song length, all of that stuff. We have a meter and we have this piano, and what did I do wrong? It's actually saying it should be working. Okay. yeah, so I kind of got carried along there. But so the trans. Okay, so all of these widget actors. Okay, that's enough. So as you saw, the actual asset editor is synced to what's going on in game. So this also kind of gives the option to debug things, debug your playback. Anyone who's made games using MIDI, it should kind of be apparent that the MIDI data can be used to drive other events in the scene, which is exactly what I did here with these simple pianos, which right now come with a very simple blueprint listener component that I was doing it during playback. You can change different tracks, and according to the numberings, like when you look in the asset, we have the track numbers. So the listener went the track number. I will change it so that you get a list of track names, or actually of MIDI output, because in the future it's not necessary that you may not necessarily want to output all of your MIDI streams and stuff like that. It will be configurable and it will be easily accessible from the listener component. So the listener component here was attaching actually also something that will happen automatically. But right now, and it also kind of shows the flexibility that someone who is familiar with the Metasound output subsystem, you can already make a lot of use in undaw, because it is a Metasound. You just need to know the names of the outputs, which yes, you just need to know them in order to connect to them. And beyond that point, we are just passing the MIDI events into our little blocks, which do their little animations. The music scene player actor basically sets up for you the new harmonix music clocks and tempometers components, and they drive these cubes and the bars. And yes, pretty much that's it. In the future, I definitely intend to add many improvements. I'm very interested in allowing basically to use the MIDI clock to drive events both in the game and in the builder, like something that lets you insert a new track or make changes to the graph on a given timestamp or on a quantization boundary, similar to Quartz. But it will be different from Quartz because basically everything here happens within the same meta sound. So it means that if we trigger something using a timestamp here, we can then use the trigger to immediately trigger something else within meta sounds, which once I allow connections between patches here with the limitations of the builders and stuff like that, it will actually be pretty powerful in driving meta sound logic and giving you an entry point into the meta sound, which is not just the parameters. There are actually many cool things here. The Metasound Builder API is very cool. But just to say that these parameters are actually not exposed as graph inputs into the Metasound. I can show now that we do not implement a warning. It is not recommended to open the generated Metasound. I primarily use it for debugging. It is very ugly, but it's not recommended because it will actually stop playback and do nasty things. So this is what it looks like. I can actually make it tidier, but I don't think there's any point to it. There's really no reason to open it once you have confidence that the DAW sequence represents the correct information. You don't need this. Yes, so we have the generated meta sound, and I forgot what I was talking about. I think this will do in the casual spirit of this explanation. Yes, it's a meta sound, it's a configurable meta sound, it can be edited. We will add more meaningful options to do things with the meta sound from here. Yes, more to come. It's been long enough. Thank you for the one person who listened to this video. Cheers.